Alrighty, thank you so much for joining us today on Biz Bites. As you can see, we have another very special guest, and I am very excited to welcome Lou Everett and Sherri McManus from the Lou Everett Group. Lou and Sherri are known for their highly effective coaching, teaching, and speaking on the importance of personal growth and the impact it has on our influence as a leader. They've received training and mentoring from well-known and successful coaches and teachers, the likes of Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, Paul Martinelli, and our certified John Maxwell coaches, trainers, and speakers. So please in welcoming Lou Everett and Sherri McManus of the Lou Everett Group.
Hi,
So thank you both for being here today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit of how you work with your clients?
Yeah, sure. You want me to take that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the way we work with our clients is a little different in approach. Number one, the first thing we deal with is relationships. So we always want to have that relationship piece with our client. And I guess the best way to explain how we work with our client and makes us different is that we don't call our clients clients. We call them partners. So we partner with them in their success. So we take the journey along with them because when they fail, we fail. When they're successful, we're successful. And so our approach is about that. It's about relationships and what they want to accomplish. Because, if we don't know that, we're never going to be able to siphon through the weeds to get some clarity.
Right. Well, thank you very much. So as you know, we at Money Mountain Systems coach and consult our clients on systems and how to be more efficient and productive. And your coaching is a lot more about leadership, about mind shift and or mindset shift, about personal development. So what do you think, how do you think there are differences and maybe some similarities in our two coaching styles?
Sure.
Yeah, I can start it.
Sure.
Yeah. I just love the way that you guys have designed it, because I like to say that you guys are like the nuts and bolts of the business, really concrete. This is how you need to do the systems, and let's work with what you have or don't have right now in your business to succeed, which is great because I think everybody needs that. But then on the flip side, in order to have those systems, you also need to have the right mindset. You can do all the actions you want, but if you're not in the right headspace of why you're doing it, finding your why, what's motivating you as a person to even lead yourself and lead your team. So I think that's so important to have the harmony of both of those with a person as a leader. It doesn't matter if you're a solo entrepreneur, you can be in the corporate C-suite, you can be, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Having that harmony is so, so important.
No, I agree 100%. The phrase that I use a lot and that my mentor, John Maxwell, says is everything rises and falls on leadership. And that's a very loaded question, a very loaded statement. There's a lot in there, and here's an analogy. I like telling stories and analogies. That's kind of where I come from. So growing up, I loved playing guitar, and I was in these little bands, and I loved doing it. And and you have this grandeur idea of being a rock star, and staying with somebody who loves football or golf, that they want to go and be, that mind wants to go to be that big level. Now I realized along the way, I'm not going to be a rock star. I'm not that good. Number one, and number two, I wasn't dedicated enough. I wasn't willing to put in the effort and time because that wasn't something I felt I was good at. I was better at other things. And when it comes down to coaching, when it comes down to different things, the systems that are put in place, while we know systems, but other people like know it better. That is not our strong suit. Our strong suit is connecting with people, understanding the mindset, and how to gear that towards being a stronger leader, and emphasizing on the characteristics that need to be solid and put in place to be a solid, influential leader for their teams and their businesses, even if they're a solopreneur.
Right. Oh, definitely.
Because, once you can lead yourself, then you can lead others. But if you don't lead yourself first, you can't lead other people. So I firmly believe wholeheartedly in coaches like yourself and other and companies like yourself and coaches on the system track, because it's necessary. It's that piece of the puzzle that begins to build the full picture, if that makes any sense.
Well, it totally makes sense because there are so many times when you come in and say, well, you have to make this many phone calls, you have to make this many connections with people, and just go do it.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't have the mindset or the right motivation to do it, it's going to be a real struggle.
Yeah.
So that's where it complements each other. And I really liked one of the other things that you said about a lot of the people that we work with are a lot of solopreneurs. And they may not think that they need any leadership training.
Right.
And so I know this is a little off script, but do you mind
That's okay.
kind of living here? Do you mind just kind of sharing how you feel solopreneurs and independent business people who are like maybe salespeople benefit from having leadership training?
Yeah, sure. Want me to take this one? Start off anyway? Okay. So it's, and that's a very good question, Liz. And we get asked that an awful lot, and we have to go through and fight that battle a little bit. But, you know, as a solopreneur, and that's the thing that we find as well, Sherri and I, and what we do, we're the people business. And, you know, ultimately most people are, but we truly are in the people business, and you can understand that. And a solopreneur is now building their legacy. You know, that is their legacy. And in order to build your legacy, you've got to be fully committed to yourself. And that doesn't just mean, okay, how do I do my accounting, which is necessary. It doesn't mean how do I structure my organization. That's necessary. But if you don't include the ability to think clearly and pull away the noise to get clarity outside of confusion, then like you said, Liz, you're not going to be driven to pick up the phone. You're not going to be driven to make the right calls. You're not going to be driven to go out and meet people one-on-one. You're not going to be driven to overcome objection. And it's that mindset piece to understand the clarity behind the purpose and mission that you're there to drive your business and to grow your business. I hope that answered your question.
It does. Thank you so much. And I think that one of the valuable things that you offer is one of the things that we like to kind of get across to our clients is even if you're a solopreneur, even if you're the owner of a small business and have some employees, you really need to think more like a CEO.
Right.
And, you know, you guys having experience working with a lot of C-suite executives is really valuable because you know exactly kind of what it is how they need to think in a certain way and how that mind shift, I keep saying that wrong, mindset shifts, so that they can think in a certain way and build past a certain ceiling. Because a lot of times when we talk to people, they hit a plateau in their business and they're not really sure how to get past it. And the systems will get them past a certain place. The mindset also needs to be there too, so that they can take a step back and know that the systems are going to be in place so that they don't have to have their fingers in every piece of the pie in their business.
Right.
And that takes a huge mindset shift.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I feel that a piece of this is our pride, you know, as a solo entrepreneur,
ego, right?
and yeah, it's leading into the ego, and that's commendable because you are proud. You just, this is your business, this is your baby, it's blood, sweat, tears, literally. So, you know, we understand that. You know, this isn't our first rodeo, so we get it. But it's to getting the message out that put your ego aside and let people help. And you'll be surprised, you know, that we need people. You know, what's the phrase where, you know, we can't, just because we're one person, you can only do so much, but we need people. And people, if you are willing to help, you know, especially right now, especially people are coming together, which is fantastic. But even we didn't, you just have to ask and know the right people to help. And to do that, there's so many other ways that we could talk about, but that's just something to reach out to, like us or yourself, because we are the resources that we can help. If we don't have that, you know, we can't do that, but I know somebody that does. And that's a good thing. And that's the relationship building and so forth.
Yeah, the overcoming the ego as a business owner is necessary. Because let's be honest. Okay, when you start your own business, and or even if you're not necessarily the owner of the business, but you're at the C-suite level, there's an ego there.
Mm-hmm.
And the ego is, I want to be able to do everything. I don't want anybody else to do it because I do it better.
Right.
So what I will say to that is this, and those of us, everyone else is listening, I'm going to start this way. My name is Lou. I am your friend. Okay. But get over it.
Yeah.
Get over yourself and understand that your business is not driven by ego. It's driven by potential, and it's driven by decisions with clarity. And the decisions with clarity have to happen with other people that have those strengths.
Yeah, a lot of people do get hung up on that ego, and
Yeah.
some of the reasons that they fight certain systems is because they're not comfortable with it,
That's right.
and that's where they have to get out of their own way.
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all are a big fan of quotes. One of my personal favorites is an African proverb. It says, if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, together.
That's right. Wow, good one. I love
Really
it.
love that quote.
That's
So
great.
I know that sometimes we want to go fast, and when you're hitting the ground running and when you're starting out a business, sometimes you have to go fast, but you can only get so far by yourself. So if you want to go farther, then you need to have a team, you need to have a plan, and you need to have systems in place
That's
so that
right.
you can get there. And
That's
sometimes
exactly.
that can be a challenge for a lot of people, is knowing when to make that shift.
Mm-hmm.
Having to do it all yourself, having the money to be like, well, I have to build this website by myself. I have to do all my books myself. I have to do all of this, nitty gritty stuff, which is not in their zone of genius.
Right.
And so they get to a point where they're like, okay, what is that point where I need to delegate things, where I need to farm this out for other people so that I can be more successful. So, I mean, and in our businesses, our goal is really to help others. And I know you guys would agree with that too. 100%. Yeah, we are in a ministry, kind of a service industry, and so in order to serve others, sometimes we have to step out of the way. And our employees and the people we delegate to are also people that we serve.
Good. I love what you said there. Sometimes in order to serve people, we have to step out of our own way. That is so powerful. The great analogy, a quick story, if it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sherri and I last year, August, we went to the John Maxwell team, a conference. They have 2 conferences a year. It was our first conference after joining the team and really pushing hard on our business, and it was amazing. But the story I want to tell is, I'm sitting there. Now I've been speaking for years, since I was 12, in front of church. So I've been up in front of people for years, and I was standing there. We're sitting there watching these people come up and speak, and our mentors, right? These are our coaches,
right?
And I'm sitting there like, I thought I was good. These guys are phenomenal, and thank God that they're better than me.
Right.
You have to have people better than us so that we can learn from them, so that we can get there.
Exactly.
So that's why we need people like you and us and gosh, I mean, I've got a speaker coach. I've got a mindset coach. I have a business coach. I've got a speaker coach. Did I say that? Okay, and a coach. Someone helps me learn how to help me coach right. I mean, and I got my wife. So we all need someone better to get us from where we are to where we intend to be.
So that's a great example, Lou. You had said that you work with multiple coaches, and I know there may be some kind of misconception that you need to have one coach so that you can stay focused on one area. How has having multiple coaches benefited you? Have you ever felt any kind of conflict between your coaches as to like not knowing which way to go, or struggling with something, or have you really mostly felt a lot of benefit from having multiple coaches?
I find that too with some folks that I come across with that have well, I can't be with you guys yet because I have a sales coach right now, and I, did this program. I'm like, that's great, but that's only that one track. What about the rest of your business? What about what about the rest? So yeah, it's been really helpful to have like we said, the 5 other coaches, excuse me, that we have, and they complement each other. That's the beauty. And you want to have the more well-roundedness than just the one track. I mean, just because when someone starts a business, do you think that's one track? No. They have to worry about HR. They got to worry once they build a little bit. They got to work for their bookkeeping. They got to worry about their systems and the hiring and the training. I mean, there's so many facets, but I mean, I don't think a solo entrepreneur goes in going, I can't wait to do all that. They have their strength, and that's what they want to do. If it's cleaning, if it's some type of service, or whatever that specialty is, because they love it and that's their passion, which is great. But that's only a piece of the puzzle with it. And having multiple coaches, it doesn't have to be 5, but to have that well-roundedness, it really brings out the person in them. That's the beauty about it. It brings out skill sets that you may have not even thought about before. When somebody, if you have the right connection, can bring that out and be like, wow, I've never thought of it that way, or I've never even considered that. So I think that's the beauty about it. As long as you have a harmony between them,
that's it right there.
That's it.
It's the harmony, and I think, and I've extremely benefited from having all the coaches I have. I mean, we're talking. I mentioned Paul Martinelli in the, you mentioned it, our training with Paul. Paul Martinelli is by far one of the best mindset coaches I've ever encountered. Okay. And thank God that he is, because that is a mentor of ours. And, and the harmony is a big part. Do they harmonize? And it all starts with that mindset. Do they have the same, are they focused on the same thing I want them to focus on, which in every situation, any person that you want to have in as a coach or as a systems company and help you through your systems in that direction, or a systems coach or a real estate coach, do you connect with that person? Are they looking out for you? And if all those people are looking out for you, there's your harmony.
Awesome.
There's your
exactly.
Harmony. And you have complete control over a coach. If you don't feel you have control over that relationship, that you can say to them how you feel, then you need to go to a different coach.
That is true. That's very true.
So, help it out.
Can you share, I think this is an especially pointed question right now, especially with the current environment that we're in. A lot of us are working from home, shifting and pivoting our businesses a little bit so that we can serve our people and serve our tribes in a way that is beneficial to them. I'm sure that sometimes now, with those shifts and with those pivots and with different things that are in the news, mindsets may be shifting in a negative direction.
Right.
How do you help people recognize when those shifts are happening and help them to come up with maybe some tools and some coping mechanisms so that they can bring their mindset back into someplace positive so that they can be better leaders and better business people?
No, it's a very good question. Can I start with this one? So the first thing that we have to understand about a negative mindset is that as humans, as people, it's normal. Mm-hmm. It happens. And it's okay. That part's okay. But what's not okay is when we begin to sink into that darkness a little bit more, and then our priorities begin to change. So how do we identify that we're getting into that we're settling into a negative mindset? Because once we settle is the difficult thing.
Right.
So when we begin to settle, these are things to identify. First of all, it's uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable. Like, this is not me. Right. Number two, you begin to look at things in a way that's, not healthy. Mm-hmm. And the reason we're doing this is because of our habits. What are you doing currently now that you didn't do before?
Right.
Where were you when you were positive? What were you doing then, and what are you doing now? and you're going to see that you're doing something different now.
Right.
Especially right now, what are you doing differently that's making you feel that way? Well, I have the news on my TV all the time.
Yeah.
Well, there's number one, there's your problem.
There's number one.
In a crisis, that's a problem. Okay, and you're feeding your mind, even if you're not in the same room and you're listening to that, you are feeding your mind with other people's opinions.
Right.
You see, opinions change people, but they don't have to.
Right.
That's up to us. It's a choice, right? Attitude to choice. The third thing to consider is this. We have, as people, especially in this country, have gotten ourselves so connected to social media that we use it to voice opinion and not help the other people, help out each other.
Right.
But social doesn't mean opinion. Social means togetherness.
Right.
And so we socialize, you're together. We use it ineffectively. And if you're sitting there just like you're watching the news and you're scrolling through and you're seeing everybody else's opinion and negativity, and you're allowing, what's going to happen over time is that's going to then impact and influence your mental thinking.
Right.
So you're using the wrong mental floss. That makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay?
We have to mentally floss.
You've got to mentally floss. And
right.
what are you using to do it is the question.
Right.
So those are things to identify what it is you're doing differently that's making you feel the way you are.
And that's where it comes to awareness.
Once you become aware, now what do you do with it? So
exactly, yeah.
That's okay. I can go on to that. What do you do next?
Oh yeah, definitely. Please.
Great. So the number one thing you need to do when you've realized and become aware that you have now set yourself in a situation where you're feeling you're not feeling right. You're
right.
feeling, as a matter of fact, your spouse might be like, what is wrong with you? Right? You might be getting that effect too. And so the first thing you need to identify is, first thing you need to do as a solution is write it down.
Right.
Even if you're not a writer, write down how you're feeling. This is what I'm feeling.
Right.
This is what I felt last week when I was positive. And why? That's number one. Number two, ask somebody. It's okay to talk to somebody and ask. Say, go to people like you or myself and say, man, I just had a really rough negative day and I can't seem to clear the noise.
Yeah.
And then we talk to them. And right now, just so you know, and that we will actually, at this moment in time, if anybody comes to us as a business owner, as a person, and says, I can't get through the noise right now, we will absolutely talk to you, and we're not going to charge you.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no reason to, because we all need to be there for one another. Ask for assistance. We're not going to know if you don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And sit down, and I'm a firm believer in habits, in mental habits. And when you start creating, right now it's easy to do, isn't it, Liz? When you're sitting home, what else do we have to do but to watch the television and the news and go through social? I mean, we spend hours now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what is it that you're feeding your mind?
Right.
Because you like you always say, you are what you eat. Well, I disagree with that, because if that was the case, I'd be a cheeseburger. But you are what
you consume.
What you read and what you engage in. That's what you are.
It's the subconscious.
Yes.
Even though it's just the subconscious.
It's the subconscious mind that turns it around and makes you become what you fill your mind with. That's
right.
Always has been and always will be the case.
Yeah, and I like to say, because my son, I have a teenage son, he's 13 years old, so he's a digital native. He doesn't know life before the internet. He doesn't know life before devices and all that kind of stuff. So I always tell him, be careful when you're on the internet. Be careful what you're looking for on YouTube, because there are some things you can't unsee.
That's it.
That's
it. It stays there. It stays there.
Because once it gets in your head, it's in there. And you never know when it's going to pop back out. So just be careful, who you choose to associate with and who you choose what kind of information you choose to. That's the thing is choose. You get to choose what kind of information you want to absorb. So if you want your Facebook feed be full of positive stuff, you can unfollow the people who are constantly posting the negative stuff.
Yeah, one click.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today. I want to let you have a quick minute. Events or trainings or anything that you have going on where people can find you. And then we can also, we'll post in the comments below this video how they can connect with you and any upcoming events that you may have.
Sure, that'd be great. Do you want to talk to them about the mastermind that we have coming up?
Yeah, I'll start with that one. We have one upcoming. It's on April 13th. It's on every Monday for the next 8 weeks. It's virtual.
I am excited about that.
Yay!
We are too.
Yeah, we are too. It's complimentary. It's a $129 value. We really do it our best to really give value to everyone that participates. So it's completely complimentary that we're doing. We have people that have gone through this program, so to speak, and have transformed immensely. And that's just us to guide them, and the rest is on you. So if you have an open mind, if you want to clear the noise, by all means, I strongly urge you to take this time to go through this particular mastermind. And it's going to be the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell. We picked out 8 specific topics, 8 specific chapters. The whole book is good, but 8 specifically that is going to really resonate with everyone at this time. So I strongly urge you. It's a great opportunity to do that. It's April 13th.
13th is Thursday. I will send from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Monday. Great.
Yeah.
And we use the we call it a mastermind, and we've battled back and forth with that term because it's used a lot. Our definition of a mastermind is exactly what the word says, mastermind, which means the coming together of people from different experiences, different ideas, and sharing those based on something they've recently learned. And so, that's what we do. I would say, to be honest, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to have basically, it's a 8 weeks coaching session that you're coaching each other. We facilitate. So we take, we have the book, and then there's 8 chapters. We literally ask questions based on what you've already read. There's video clips. You get access to a back end piece of our website that's solely for you, that has access to PDFs, additional material, video clips from John Maxwell talking about those topics. And then you study, you look at that, and we talk the following week and say, how did that go? And we have, like Sherri had said, we have people, and I won't say her name, but I'm sure she'll brag about it soon. But from seeing from somebody from the beginning and at the end, and see that they have completely transformed the way that they view things, their mind has shifted. So when you say mind shift, that is 100% accurate. Okay? So I know it was a slip for you, but that is 100% accurate. It is a mind shift. And that is exactly what this mastermind is about. So we have other things coming up too, but this one here, we want to give this away. There's no selling in these masterminds. We don't push any agenda. We don't have any other offers for you to pay any money. This is solely for you to grow and for us to take that journey with you, because there's nothing better for us than to actually be there with you on a journey, because, man, does it make us feel good. It sounds selfish. Man, does it make us feel good.
It does. It feels good to help people.
Yeah, it does. It does. So we want to encourage you. And how do you get there? The URL is 15, the number 15 laws.loueverettgroup.com.
Okay, and we'll put that in the comments below.
Great, beautiful.
So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you all who are joining us for Biz Bites. Make sure you come back and see us every Wednesday here on our Facebook Money Mountain Systems wall. And you can see us on this Biz page every Wednesday at 12:30. So thank you for joining us together today and getting together. We like to bring in special guests like Lou and Sherri. So we thank them for being here today. And if you found this information valuable, make sure you sign up for that mastermind group. We also have some programs in place that I'm going to put our next $47 Jumpstart program link in in the comments below as well, so that you can sign up for that. You're going to see a boost to your business in 30 days, which is really incredible, just focusing on one area of your business where you can improve those systems that we're really excited to help people with. So thanks so much, and thanks for sharing.
You bet.
Well,
Thank you.
you.